name is Conatser. I'm working at Justus Drugstore, a restaurant, and my cocktail this year is the Vintner's Daydream. I was wandering through the woods this spring picking things for the restaurant and happened across a bunch of wild grape blossoms. They smelled fantastic and infused into brandy, just lovely, and that was where the whole thing started. We've got the grape blossom infused cognac. We've got chai tea bitters made from first flushed Darjeeling tea with a little black pepper and all the other traditional spices, a little bit of a local honey syrup to sweeten it. Made basically an old-fashioned, like a bittersweet drink with basically a verjus popsicle ice ball. It's got a little wild grape verjus that I picked later in the season. I just picked it when it tasted about the right tartness. I'm using Cartlidge and Brown Pinot Noir. It's got some fruit forward, but at the same time it's got the earthiness at the finish. And to add a little more sweetness, rather than using sugar, which would compromise the quality of the ice even more, I used a stevia tea from stevia that I grew on my patio. And so you end up with something that's slightly more frozen than your average Mr. Freeze. When you put it in an icy cold drink or pour an icy cold drink over it, it melts maybe over the course of 20 minutes to half an hour. The point of all of that, of course, is that it changes the drink as the ice melts. The drink changes. It goes from being like an old-fashioned, a grape blossom old-fashioned, to a grape blossom sour. And you've got the blossoms, you've got the verjus, you've got then the wine, the brandy. You've got the full gamut of the grape in the beverage, which is where the name The Vintner's Daydream came from. What appealed to me, besides just the aroma of the grape blossoms in the woods, was the fact that North America has, we are where the grape originated. There's only one species of grape native to Europe. It's the only one that made the trek all the way around and got that far over. We have far more species, far more diversity. I have about, I think, 5 different species of grape in this cocktail as it is right now, which would be completely impossible in really just about any other part of the world, which I think is kind of cool. Well, I always wanted to be an evil genius when I grew up, a mad scientist. That was my goal. Either that or a field biologist. The field biologist was out of the question after working out at Powell Gardens as a gardener for several years. My allergies got to be too much. I ended up taking a little barista gig, night barista gig at JP Wine Bar and Coffee House when everyone was in their year before last, experimenting for drinks for this cocktail competition that Ryan had decided to start. I made a drink one day, which was my first alcoholic beverage that I'd ever really thought about with any sort of intent, besides mixing rum and Coke. But I made that drink and they tried it and they said, "Wow, that's reasonably good." So I turned it in and it didn't get me anywhere, but it did. I got a daytime Saturday bartending shift out of it, and from there just kind of took off. Of course, I've always been a ridiculous bookworm. I geek out on whatever I'm interested in, and it happened to be beverages at this point in my life. So last year when the competition came around again, I was there with a little something, and wonder of wonders, lo and behold, I ended up with this giant check in my hand and a puzzled look on my face, and I'm still not exactly sure how I ended up here, really, but yeah,
Fantastic.
Something like that.